We have with us now a very special guest, Ambassador Carla Sands from Pennsylvania. Carla, in the last segment, we were talking with a Guardian reporter who's saying there's a lot of low propensity voters who are not being reached in the heartland. You're from Pennsylvania. You know everyone in the game in Pennsylvania. What can you report door to door? What's going on the ground? What do we have to look forward to in Pennsylvania? And thanks for joining us on the War Room, Carla Sands, Ambassador.
Hey, thank you so much, Dave, that you're keeping Steve Bannon's legacy alive and that you're honoring everything that Steve Bannon stands for. I thank you personally, Dave. I watch the show and see what you're sharing with the posse. But I just have to say, here we are. Steve Bannon's a political prisoner. Peter Navarro was a political prisoner. Donald J. Trump's home was raided by jackbooted thugs. They tried to put him in prison for 700 years, keep him off the ballot in multiple states. Mark Elias has gone to the ground, trying to keep Donald Trump from being elected. There's so many activities that they're doing that's illegal, weaponizing the government against the political opponent. And Kamala Harris was the last person in the room. So this race is not a normal race, and you can feel it in the air. There's tension, especially after that debate last night. But on the ground in Pennsylvania, I have good news, and then I have bad news, Dave.
Yeah, good. Give it to us.
Okay. Well, we are, to the good, about 183,000 fewer mail-in ballot requests by the Democrats than in 2020. That's the good news. The bad news is they've requested about 500,000 more mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania, the Democrats, than the Republicans have already. And we're only...
Wow.
Well, we're a little ways out from the election day, but about to start receiving ballots in the mail. So if I could just request everybody in Pennsylvania that's watching your show and everybody watching the show from across the country, go to swampthevoteusa.com. And you can do it right now on your phone if you're not already registered. But even if you are, you can go there and tell the Trump campaign, I'm going to vote early in person, or I'm going to vote early by a mail-in ballot. And you can request it right there, or I'm going to vote on election day. So swampthevoteusa.com. And if you're in Pennsylvania, just put in a /PA, and literally you can request that mail-in ballot in Pennsylvania. It's a special portal because Pennsylvania is so critical in this race, and the Trump campaign understands it. Once they know that they have your vote, they've banked it, that you've committed to vote one of those three ways, they don't have to keep spending money to chase your vote. They've banked it. But Dave, there's more to this. I just want to talk for a second about the mischief that Democrats do at the polls on election day, if I could.
Sure, please.
Okay. So on election day, we saw Carrie Lake, her voters in Maricopa County, just a few years ago, not be able to vote for her because the paper didn't work, the machines were down. There was all kinds of things happened that she was disenfranchised, and others on that Republican ticket. But there are also things like in New York, they had a special election. There was a snowstorm. Democrats had voted early, Republicans didn't, so they lost that race. The Republicans lost that seat. And CrowdStrike, there was a CrowdStrike emergency right after the RNC convention, and all the planes were not flying. And the CEO a few days later said, "Oh, we're really sorry about that outage. We were preparing for election day." And he's a leftist. So please, Republicans, don't think that things are going to be normal on election day. If they try to kill your opponent, put him in prison for over 700 years, rig a debate against him to take him out, raid his home, put him in, do you not think that they're going to do things in these key counties and key precincts to keep you from voting on election day? You can count on it. So I'm just asking Republicans, please vote early, either in person or by a mail-in ballot, especially if you're in those swing states. But I would just say, just do it. Bank your vote. It's how Glenn Youngkin became governor of Virginia. He got 60% of the Republicans to vote early. So if you vote early, I think we win. And we know this is so important. President Trump can prevent another 9/11 from happening. They're inviting in to destabilize our country terrorists, gang members, people out of prisons, and they're not deporting them. They're keeping them here and then gaslighting citizens when they're causing crime, like in Colorado. So this is not a normal time. Yeah. This is not our father's Democrat Party, like RFK Jr. has said, and he's going to help make our country healthy again. This is a very special time, and I'm just really imploring Republicans, go to swampthevoteusa.com, and then President Trump can't do this alone. I hope that you'll also go to TrumpForce47.com, TrumpForce47.com, and be the hands and feet and mouth for the campaign. Sign up to be a captain, be a poll watcher, a poll worker. We are about 5-1 down from Democrats on poll workers and poll watchers. We need you to volunteer.
Say that again. Give that last stat again. Down 5-1 on what? That's unbelievable.
Poll watchers and poll workers. And we're asking you to be a captain if you're willing to on TrumpForce47.com. You don't have to have any experience. There's these great MAGA patriots that are training every single week. You're going to love it. And you can be older, you can be really young. They welcome you. We welcome you. We want you, and we need you. President Trump cannot do this alone.
Yeah. And
we don't have the union hands that are tax-paid, hands to get that vote out and be poll workers and poll watchers. We have you, the posse, and tell your friends and family. And please ask your friends and family, even if they don't like it, this year, vote early in person or by mail.
Yep. Ambassador Carla Sands, you have keen political instincts. You've been around the world. You can read a room. Best of all, you're from the heartland, Pennsylvania, running to represent Pennsylvanians. When you watched the debate last night, I think you hit it on the head when you mentioned gaslighting. The tone and just the arrogance that just came across from the 3-on-1 debate. Yeah. What do you when you put yourself in the living rooms of Pennsylvanians last night? I'm from Michigan and Minnesota in the heartland, and I gotta think the average person can read that. And President Trump is just the adult in the room saying we had peace and prosperity for 4 years. What more do you want, right? I mean, he's scratching his head. But the snarky attitude. Do you think Pennsylvanians can read that and read through that and see what's going on?
Dave, I certainly hope so. But unfortunately, the legacy media, these major channels that a lot of older Americans still watch, they are absolutely working full stop to elect Kamala Harris. Yeah. And her radical policies. But it's not just them. It's Google suppressing or ChatGPT so that, the assassination attempt on Trump never happened, according to many of these big tech platforms. And so I think that we have to break through that noise and also say, Dave, this Sunday is a day where churches are being requested to register voters so that people can vote their values. About 30% of Christians are not registered to vote. And then many of them that are not going to turn out. So I really want to encourage everybody. This has to be a landslide. We have to win in a landslide. President Trump needs a mandate. And the debate, how despicable that the three ganged up on President Trump. Kamala Harris didn't even need to be there. It was the moderators against Trump fact-checking him falsely, too, I must say, falsely fact-checking him on true facts, and then not fact-checking Kamala Harris when she pulled out that trope about the Charlottesville. I mean, shame on them.
Right, again.
They should lose their jobs. They are advocates for a candidate. They are not journalists.
Yeah, I agree with you. And on the religion front, we just had a reporter from The Guardian on talking about low propensity voters. It turns out the Christians are the low propensity voters, which is kind of stunning. In this modern world, we the people in the Constitution and Declaration, we are put in charge of our government, right? God says, obey your rulers. And then he gave us the greatest gift that we are the rulers. We get to run this country. So God has put us clearly in a responsibility position as every citizen. It's a duty and a command to vote and to run your government. And then when it comes to God, there's a question of which God, right? This is the age of deception, as you've been sharing, right, with the mainstream media piece. Right, the candidates, every candidate, what God do you believe in, right? In the Judeo-Christian West, it's the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Jesus, right? And if the clearest way for folks to figure this out is to go visit the party platforms. Again, all political views are my own, but go check out the party platforms. And if there's no mention of God, and if your candidate hasn't ever mentioned God or a particular God in a tradition, then we might be chasing some false gods in this country. And in the Judeo-Christian West, God throws you in the desert for 400 years to get your head on straight if you make the wrong choice. And so we have key decisions to make as a country going forward. And the religious people sitting out there on the sidelines say, "Why? It's just a mean world. It's toxic. I don't like it. I just wish everyone was nice to each other." A couple minutes to go, Ambassador Carla Sands, what counsel do you give to these people that just wish everybody was nice, like maybe they are in the Midwest, but if they don't get it right, what's at stake? What's the urgency?
Well, first of all, there's a couple of books that people could read. One is Wolves in Sheep's Clothing. Another is Eric Taxis' Letter to the American Church, warning us that we are actually at that kind of pre-Nazi moment that Germany experienced, and that the churches, the pastors were silent about what were the atrocities and allowed the Nazis to take over. The totalitarian instinct of this administration, Kamala Harris, and she's to the left of Bernie Sanders, should give chills to every practicing Christian, every gun owner. She's radical. She's hiding it right now to get elected. Then she's going to roll it out if we're not successful in stopping her. And so if you are a pastor or close to a pastor, please reach out to them just today. Call them up, go see them, tell them that this is so important. I talk to the pastor of every church that I attend, and some of them tell me, "Oh, we are intentionally not being political." Well, let me tell you, you like your First Amendment and your religious freedom, it's not going to be there in a generation or less if you don't fight for it. Our Constitution is based on biblical principles. It put the people in charge of the government, not the powerful. It was revolutionary. It still is. It's worth protecting. If you're a gun owner, a churchgoer, I'm just asking you, don't just go to swampthevoteusa.com and TrumpForce47.com. Those are the campaign vehicles. But I'm telling you, it's not enough to pray. It's not enough. We are God's hands and feet on earth, and we have to walk out our faith, and this is part of it. And so I'm calling on you, if you're a Christian, no matter what denomination, or if you're of another faith, but you practice it and you're faithful, and you love your children, and you don't want them transed, you don't want boys and girls sports, you want to protect the rule of law and not have a kind of banana republic Venezuela happening right here, because it's happening in front of our eyes. Our allies don't see it yet. They're denying it. So, Dave, I'm asking and really imploring every listener, get active.
10 seconds.
Even if you can't get out of the house, you can work on this. We have to elect Donald Trump.